Good afternoon, guys. Welcome back to Morgan Hill Farms. So it is incredibly cold today. We started out with a little bit of sun shining and then the clouds just seemed to roll in. It got really dark and now it's just really raw. We're sitting around the mid 40s right now and I'm absolutely freezing. I know a lot of you guys are laughing at me, all of you guys who live up north, because this is nothing for you. We are supposed to get some rain tonight. In fact, I think it's actually supposed to start within the next hour, but it is going to go overnight and it's going to just pummel us with heavy downpours. And of course, as the temperatures drop, they're saying we're probably going to see some, a messy commute tomorrow with ice and freezing rain. But I wanted to come on here really quick today with a video for you guys. This was not the video that I had planned on going out today, but in light of some information that I came across late last night, I thought it was really important to talk to you guys really quick about some of this stuff. So without going into a lot of detail, because honestly guys, I never know what I can say and what I can't say, if you catch my drift. But basically, late last night, I saw something come across Nate's Facebook feed on his social media, and it got me actually pretty concerned. And this is coming from some pretty trustworthy and well-known people, and I'm seeing more and more of it today. And what they're saying is that there is a planned 9/11 style attack that's going to happen in the second week of December. That is literally just a few days away. And when you think about that, you think about airplanes, you think about terrorists. But what I'm thinking more of is kind of a large-scale coordinated attack. And where we are today in 2025 with the technology that we have, my mind goes to a cyber attack, something where the goal is to affect as many people as possible in as many areas as possible. So not just one main city like it was, but all over the country. And now with all of that being said, I came up with a quick list of things that I think that you guys should give some serious attention to, and maybe even go out in the next day or two and get some of these things if you don't already have them. Now, the first two items I'm not going to spend a lot of time on. These are just your basic food and water. So for your food, think about the shelf-stable type stuff, your pasta, canned meat, rice. If you have kids and you use a lot of milk, shelf-stable milk is a great way to go. Even powdered milk. If you're baking, you can use both of those things, and you can throw those in scrambled eggs, you can make French toast, maybe a bowl of cereal, or maybe you just want some of that shelf-stable milk to put into your coffee. Remember, if a cyber attack happens, I think that the most likely targets are going to be your power grid and your utilities, like maybe your water supply. So don't go out and stock up on these perishable items. And honestly, that shelf-stable milk, it is no different than what you are getting in the refrigerated section at the grocery store. Our school system here over the summer in our county gave each kid that lived within the county limits a box of food for a week worth of lunches. And so we got a bunch of that shelf-stable milk, and I have that on hand. And honestly, guys, I use that in my cooking and my baking if we're running low on that refrigerated milk. And there's really no difference. The next thing that goes is bread. If you guys are living this lifestyle, you probably have yeast on hand. You probably have a sourdough starter. But if you're like me, that starter is in the back of your fridge and it has turned to alcohol. Just take that out, refresh that over the next couple of days, and you'll be able to get that right back. If it has gotten to the point of alcohol, I just pour off that liquid and then just kind of refresh that, and it should come right back. So water, this is another no-brainer. If you're on a well and we have no electricity, you're not gonna have any water, or if your municipal water source is compromised, you're not gonna be able to use that either. So do yourself a favor, run down to Walmart, grab a couple of cases of water. One case of water is about 5 gallons. And here for us, that's about $4.68. So it's very affordable. And if nothing happens, guys, you are gonna find a way to use that bottled water. I promise you, none of this stuff is gonna go to waste if you go up and stock up on it right now. And now I know a lot of you guys who are watching me probably already have your food and your water covered. So let's just move on to what I think is the most important and most valuable thing that you could possibly have on hand in case this happens, and that's going to be a generator. So when Helene came through here, generators were wiped out within the first hours of the next day. So like the first 6 to 8 hours, they were gone. People literally cleared the shelves of them. We had businesses posting on social media that they had none left, and please do not come to the store looking for them. We had other people who bought multiple generators and then were selling them on Facebook Marketplace for outrageous prices. So you guys may want to consider investing in one of those right now before you see those prices skyrocket and you're kind of in desperation and you have to, take that route where you're paying double for something. And if I can make one suggestion there, get a dual fuel generator, one that runs on gas or propane, because you are definitely going to need some options there. Of course, you do need to stock up on both of those fuels. And I'm going to tell you, propane burns so much cleaner when you're running a generator. And the main reason that I think a generator is so important is that because if you're prepping and you're living this homesteading lifestyle, chances are you have a lot of perishable food right now in your freezers. And I'm going to tell you that I cannot afford to lose all of the food that I have preserved by freezing right now. And I also couldn't possibly find another way to preserve that within the first 48 hours of the grid going down. It would just be physically impossible with that much food. When Helene came through here, guys, and we were without power for weeks, we literally started losing our frozen items within the first 24 hours. Even though my freezers were completely full with frozen food, they started to thaw so quickly. I was actually incredibly surprised by that. And I should throw in here that if your freezers are not full, go around your house and find some bottles or find some containers, fill those with water and put those into your freezer. That frozen water is going to help maintain those freezer temperatures longer than if you just left that space empty in there. Now, when we were without power, we had to run our generators for a good 6 to 8 hours a day just to keep our food frozen. And if you're using your generator for that amount of time, you're gonna wanna make sure that you have substantial fuel on hand. So we have some pretty big propane tanks. I have a couple of those, and in fact I just called my supplier today. They promised me that they're gonna come out tomorrow and top off all of those tanks, because I definitely want to start with 100% capacity. I do not want to be worried about that fuel running out. Now, if you're working with gasoline and you're worried about that fuel going bad, if you don't have to use it and you don't want to stock up on a lot, grab some fuel stabilizer. That's going to give you a bit more time. It's going to buy you some time so that you can spread out the usage of that fuel, if you had to, over the next couple of months, and you don't have to worry about that spoiling. So another thing that kind of goes in line with the fuel is a way to cook. So think about your gas grills. Think about your Camp Chef propane burners, even those Coleman camping stoves from Walmart with the little propane tanks. Those things go super fast in an emergency, but something where you can cook if you don't have the ability to cook inside your house. If all of your appliances are electric, you're gonna be out of luck unless you have a fondue pot that you can use and put a little tea light underneath that. You can heat some soup in that. But honestly, guys, I would rather have a few more options for cooking other than just soup. We're lucky we do have a gas range, so I can heat things up and cook on my stove, but definitely think about those outdoor propane type items. Another thing are baby wipes. Those are really important to have, because if you're running off of a stockpile of water, you don't want to be using your water for cleaning. Baby wipes are really great to wipe down countertops, of course, cleaning your hands, and along with that goes sanitizing wipes. Hand sanitizer would be a great thing too. We are in the middle of cold and flu season, so you do want to make sure that you guys have a way to keep things clean. And from there, I'm going to go right into that over-the-counter medication. If you have little kids, the last thing you guys want is for an emergency to happen and then they get sick and spike a fever and you have no chewable ibuprofen or no liquid ibuprofen to bring that fever down. So you're going to want to make sure that you have your anti-inflammatories, your pain relievers. If you have someone with allergies, maybe that means Zyrtec, you can get that at the dollar store. Maybe even some Benadryl. Because of coughing season, definitely cough medication. And these are just things really to help your family be more comfortable. You can also grab a bag of throat lozenges, and don't forget about some type of electrolytes too. If someone gets a stomach bug, I feel like a lot of people forget this one. If some people come down with a stomach bug, you do not want them getting dehydrated. So think about Gatorade. I'm not a super big fan of that, but you could do Gatorade, and if you think you have enough water stockpiled, you could even do the powdered Gatorade. So just grab some of that. The next thing on my list that really saved us during Helene were solar chargers. We had no power, and the only way to charge our phones, our laptops, book lights, anything that you can charge, those solar chargers were a complete lifesaver. They were a game changer, and they're pretty inexpensive on Amazon. Another thing when the power's out is that at nighttime, that darkness just seems so thick and kind of overwhelming when you don't have any light. And so think about picking up something like solar string lights. You can get those at the dollar store sometimes. Put those out during the day and then bring those back in at night, just to give you a little bit of ambiance and lift your spirits a little bit. Also, things like those LED battery operated tea lights, you can pick those up at Walmart. Those are just fake little plastic tea light candles. We kind of place those on bookcases and on different shelves throughout the house, and that really helps. And another thing too are those snap glow bracelets and the necklaces. Hang those on door handles in your houses. It's going to help in the middle of the night if someone's trying to find their way to the bathroom or to a bedroom and things like that. And it's just honestly really helpful to have a light source, especially for kids. I mean, even adults, it can get pretty overwhelming. And then the last thing on my list is going to be something to keep you busy. So I'm talking about things like puzzles, Legos for the kids, board games, even just a simple deck of cards. If you crochet or you knit, make sure that you have some yarn on hand, books, really anything to distract you and also to keep little hands occupied. You are really going to want to have the ability to have something to do that kind of gets your mind off of the situation. If you're like me, your mind's going to be constantly running and going through different scenarios, and you are just it's gonna wear you out. So you really do need that little peace of mind to give yourself a break. And one more thing too. I know I said that was my last thing, but I'm gonna throw this one in there as a bonus for you. Zip ties and duct tape. So those two things can be used for so many different things, for repairing things, fencing, animals, or if you're worried about civil unrest and maybe you're kind of that end of the world, doomsday type mindset that I am, those two items can come in very handy if you find that, let's say, people are not on their best behavior. And I'm going to leave that there for you. You can use your imagination on that one. But anyways, guys, I just wanted to come on here really quick tonight. I know that this list is not all encompassing. I'm sure I missed a bunch of stuff, but I do think it's worth running to the store, grabbing a few things if you don't have some of these things on hand. And if there's anything else that you guys can think of, drop those in the comments below so that we can all kind of brainstorm together, because you're going to think of something that I didn't, and it's going to be super helpful. Think about things, during a cyber attack, maybe communications are down, the power grid is down, your water is unavailable. So definitely put those below, guys. And you can see here it's getting pretty dark. I was not planning on filming this, but I wanted to get this out to you. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I will see you in the next video.